Good morning, YouTube or whomever. Maybe 20 years from now this video ends up in some I don't know, archival vault of dumb shit people used to do back in the day. I don't know. So anyway, heading out Friday morning, looking forward to the weekend, looking forward to a slow day at the office, crossing my fingers certain people don't show up that like to ask me trivia questions all day long. I mean, you just never know when you're in an office and there's several people there, your boss is there. We get along really well, but you never know what you're going to get asked. Every 15 minutes is something, you know. Sometimes it's an hour, but you just get these pop-ins and they always catch you just totally off guard. I'm working, you know, I got my head, I'm just deep in something, you know, spreadsheet, you're working in the spreadsheet, your mind's on nothing but the spreadsheet, and then they pop in, hey, did you hear about the such and such account? Did you ever hear back on that? Like, good Lord, you're asking me, did I hear back on something where I sent an email or made a call a week ago? Now, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about for a second or two. I have to turn on the where's my memory thing and pull it up, you know? And then if I remember it, yeah, which, you know, I always do, it just takes me a minute. And then he's looking at me like I'm fucking crazy because I don't remember what he's talking about. Because in his mind, that is the most important thing in the world right now. It's the most important thing to you because you're looking at it right now. What I was looking at before you walked in was the most important thing to me. So it's just, you know, it's just work, offices, I guess. I get it, it'd probably be the same way. If I was asking somebody about something I needed done or was following up on, you know, hey, don't you remember? But, it, you know, it doesn't bother me too much, but it's like, man, and then you got to like change your mindset back to what you were doing before. It's like, okay, where did I leave off? And just by the time you get back into it, there's some other question that, you know, pops up. Somebody calls you, this or that. That's another thing. I mean the calls. I don't mind a call. Hey, you know, I'm working on that. Hey, what's this? That's what a call's supposed to be. It's something short, like a short question. But these people want to have these big elongated conversations. And man, I got stuff to do, you know. Let's cut the, hey, how's it going this morning? All right, yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. All the bullshit that goes along with a phone conversation, just out, you know, customs. You don't just hang up on people. It's not like in the movies. I thought that was hilarious. I saw a movie review, or I don't know what you want to call it, just talking about movies in general, and it was saying how they always just hang up. They don't say bye. And once you notice that, you're like, yeah, holy shit, they always do that. So those are the little customs that we do that make a call just inefficient. And then I got to turn around because it's not my company. I've got to document everything the person said. And if it's something that my boss doesn't like, not something they wanted to hear, then I get all these side like questions almost trying to confuse me, like, you know, shooting the messenger. Well, and okay, look, man, if you want me to verbatim dictate what a phone call was, then I don't need to be doing phone calls. I just need to do an email, because I just killed two birds with one stone. It's, you know, there, I don't have to turn around and detail it to you. So that just gets a little old. I have a feeling I might get rained on today. It is not looking good, but rains are typically short. I'm not too worried about it. I'll just order lunch in and hang out, and then rain will usually be gone by the time I get off work. This is the Schubert. I'm wearing the Schubert C4 helmet. It's one of those $1,000 helmets. Now, I like it for the fact that it's got this plug-in so I can listen to music. If I had a riding partner, I could talk to them, you know, in their helmet, Bluetooth style, whatever the hell you call that. But when you're not listening to music, kind of a noisy helmet. I mean, for $1,000 bucks, man, I shouldn't hear anything. I should hear nothing but traffic, like as far as car horns and stuff like that. I shouldn't hear wind turbulence. The Schubert C3 was quiet as hell. So I don't know what happened on this one. Maybe they tried to make it lighter. Just didn't really work all too well, I don't think. But anyway, yeah, work's funny, man. People are just, they're all crazy. But they do these calls, and then you get off the call and you're, where the hell did I leave off? And then you get done and you submit your big spreadsheet with, you know, rate comparisons and things like that, and you submit it in, and there are these little errors in it. Well, I wonder why they're little errors, because I keep getting distracted and I don't know where the hell I left off. You gotta, I don't know, cut me some slack, man. Old boy can only do a few things at a time, you know. I read somewhere that women can remember, I don't know, something like 15 different things at the same time, and men can only remember like 5 things at the same time. And it really makes sense, because, you know, a man in the absolute wild is focused on hunting, getting the food, and getting it back to the camp and eating. Where the woman would have been, I assume, back in the old days, you know, caveman days, she would have been preparing the house, the kitchen, whatever, getting everything ready for the food. So she probably had more to think about, and she had to use time management, where, you know, when you're hunting, you don't need time management. You really, it's almost better if you forget the time and you just stalk that animal and you go into that zone and you don't know what the hell the time is. So that's probably, I'm in a role that is fairly dominated by women, actually, just because there's a lot of time management, a lot of remembering things and tracking and stuff like that. So having a broader memory is probably better. My more focused memory is better in spreadsheets, like if I can focus on that job. But when I start getting distractions, my memory just goes downhill, and women tend to be a little better at that, I think. My opinion, you know, everybody's different. But when I say an opinion, these are the things that my life has demonstrated to me, my experiences. So, you know, don't get mad because your grandma is a one-track mind or something like that, and I'm generalizing. Generalizations, most of the time when people make them, they're made based on the life experiences that they've had, and you can't discount that. I mean, if you think that all of a certain group of people are assholes, it's probably because you've been surrounded by assholes anytime you've engaged with that group. And so, yeah, it's just human nature. You're going to remember that. But you can get to a different area of the country and it's like totally different, and you're like, oh, that was stupid, I must have been an asshole. No, you just were dealing with the circumstances of the time. You know, I think what irritates me is when people make generalizations and they've never been around a certain group, like good or bad. Oh, those poor such and suches. You live in a fucking golf course community. Everybody in your neighborhood is the same culture, the same group, the same religion. What the fuck do you know about anything? Anything. You don't, you know, it's like back, yeah, talking about how Southern whites are so shitty towards other groups. You don't fucking know me. I know plenty of Southern guys growing up that were very, very compassionate and liberal, open-minded, want to help people. You know, I'll tell you what, we see somebody broken down on the side of the road, we fucking stop and help, for the most part. And I don't know if that's everywhere else in the world. But, so don't generalize me from, you know, I'm from Georgia, I'm just some dumb redneck, you know. First off, that shit's pretty dated, you know. It probably was a bad area, a sad area, I guess you'd say, you know, 50, 60 years after the Civil War, when we were, you know, the area was rebuilding still. But that shit's long been gone. And I shouldn't generalize people, you know, from the north as like, oh, it's like all some 1970s exploitation film where there are all these gangs running around stabbing each other in alleys. And this is kind of funny, but I saw this movie. I don't know what the hell I don't know if he was uncle or what. He wasn't a direct uncle, but he was like, I guess one of those what you call second cousins. Oh, check out this movie. This is exactly what it's like in New York. And some fucking guy is getting backed into an alley, and this gang member, like, not just stabs him, slowly stabs him. Like, you just slowly watch the blade go into the guy's chest. I'm like 4 years old. Well, so what the hell do I think New York is from there? I think it's a bunch of guys going around getting stabbed all the time. I mean, what a fucking crazy thing to show a kid. But, you know, you grow up and you're like, oh, I didn't like that at all. It's fucking nice. Went up Chicago. I mean, you watch the news now and you think, oh, Chicago, just murder everywhere, gunshots everywhere. Well, I went up, granted, this is 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more. Man, it was really nice. Really nice. Now, I mean, I know I was in a certain area, and I'm sure you go riding around looking for problem areas, you'll find it, but the particular area I was in was super nice. I was really impressed. Beautiful state too, by the way. You get outside of the city and it's the soil. I was going to see an egg farm, actually, one of our customers. Soil just so rich looking and black, just beautiful. And all the barns had these really cool German paintings. I don't know what you call them. They're like these wheels. A lot of them are octagonal, some of them are triangles. They're not real big, you know, they're about as big as like a sign to a gas station, but they put them on the front of the barn and they have these really cool designs and colors. And it was just, everything was so clean, so nice. And these little miniature cities on the way from Chicago to Pearl City. And I liked it. So, a little surprised. I think it was winter too, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as cold as you would think it would be, you know. Georgia, you're like, yeah, you go up north, like, shit, can't comprehend that cold, but it really wasn't. It was fine. I think they get that lake effect, snow and cold, which, yeah, sure. I would like to see the Great Lakes at some point, and I would like to ride up to New England. I've seen a lot of pictures of New England, beautiful. I want to see the little mills and streams and little towns up there. Maybe going up to Canada, check that out. Thing with when you've got to work, you know, and you take your week off, a week's not jack crap. I mean, it's not enough to do anything. You need, you know, really 10 business days if you really want to do anything. I mean, to be able to, the first week is really just decompressing from work, and then the next week to actually enjoy being where you're at and kind of just absorb into it before you got to run home. And I'm fairly, you know, I lean towards free market system, because I think people are smart enough, we can make a decision on what should or shouldn't be in the market. If you don't, you know, want your eggs to come from cages, and birds in cages, you have the option to buy cage free. You want to pay, you know, twice the value of the egg to get those cage frees. Hey, I totally get it, and I do. I don't eat that many eggs. I mean, I eat maybe 2 eggs a week, so yeah, I'm gonna get the cage free eggs, but that's a choice. I don't think you should ban the caged eggs. You know, I worked in that industry for a long time. It's funny, people think, oh, you know, the poor bird's stuck in the cage, but they've had claims where a tornado comes through and knocks the whole house all to pieces, and there's nothing there but a foundation. Then 3 or 4 days go by and the birds will all gather. They'll get blown out into the woods, but they live, they're birds, you know. And they'll come back and they'll be standing on that foundation looking for their food. They go where the food is. It's not to say birds are dumb. I actually have a parakeet and a conure, and They're very smart. The parakeet blew my mind one day. So the conure had been going, I let them share their 2 cages, but they're like next door neighbors, and I would let the conure, I didn't know, I'd let the conure go into the parakeet's cage and vice versa if I'm in the room and keeping an eye on them, and they got along really well. Well, the conure started fighting over one of the nests in the parakeet's cage. Well, the parakeet, I call her like the little mama, she was smart, so she goes over into the conure's cage. He has the same nest, but it's the kind where you've got the bird has to eat the little hole out. It's real soft wood, balsa or basswood, I think. But they have to go dig them out, and it's supposed to be like an activity. Well, the conure won't touch it. The conure's not doing it. The conure wants the pre-made home. And so the little mama bird, parakeet, goes over and she starts working on that other nest for the conure, so that the conure wouldn't come over there arguing about the already done nest. And the parakeet would, there are 2 parakeets actually, and the one, the little mama, she'll follow the conure around all over the house, everywhere, you know, just, they're friends. So I thought, you know, what a sweet thing. She is doing that to stop a little fight. I thought that was sweet. And then the conure, I mean, he's like, he follows me everywhere, wants to take a shower with me, if I leave the room, he starts calling for me. Really very intelligent, very intelligent. Turns the TV off and on, figured out, you know, what button to hit on the remote, so he will come over, and sure enough, I have to hide the remote from him because he'll go over and he'll hit that power button. It's the first button he hits because he's jealous and he wants me to give him my attention, my undivided attention. I always come out on this edge. If you see a car that's like thinking to pull out, get over in this little right area so they can see your headlight. You know, there's no 100% position. You need to be in the lane at all times. You need to be able to move around, always keeping in mind to increase your visibility from the most potential area where you might have a car swerve into you or not see you. So now, you know, I'm over here on the left because you got more cars that are coming around and trying to see this gray truck. I could just see him. I guess you can't see him on the camera, but he's to my left, my 11 o'clock. And I could just see him at any minute flying over. So I don't want to get in that triangle of death there where he can't see me. So I'm going to hang back a little bit. Also, it's kind of a telltale when the car is right up on the bumper of the car in front of them. Pretty good sign they're going to try to do an abrupt lane change because they're stressed, trying to get somewhere in a rush. So they get up on that tail and will fly over who knows when. Pretty much have the same route. There are several different ways I can get to the office. This is kind of, to me, the fastest one. I'm running a little bit behind. The only difference is when I get down towards where the line between these little towns cross, I can go to the expressway. I usually don't because I just don't want to deal with it. I enjoy the smaller roads just for the relaxation. Expressway saves me like 5 minutes. It's just an exit up. You floor it for maybe 3 minutes and you're there, or I can go down the 2-lane, well, I guess it's 4-lane road, but still a small road. I can go down that. You'll lose a little bit of time, but it's not as stressful. It's more enjoyable. It's kind of sad, you know, people go, oh, I'm going to drive across the country, I'm going to drive somewhere, and they just stay on the highway the whole time. You're not seeing anything but concrete and those trees that grow fast that they plant next to the expressway to block sound. You're not seeing the actual country. Florida, I mean, that's a good example. You go down to Orlando, Miami, it's just concrete. You don't see anything. You see, you know, expressway exits with your typical McDonald's, gas station, a couple of other little restaurants, maybe like one of those truck stops. And then it's funny going from Probably everybody on the East Coast knows about this, because anybody that drives to Florida. It starts out somewhere maybe 15 minutes north of Macon, all the way down to maybe 30 minutes, well, maybe an hour north of Orlando. These billboards, Cafe Risque, and there's another one, strip clubs. I mean, and it's every mile or two, there's that sign, Cafe Risque, Cafe Risque. And you're like, who's going there? Obviously, if I'm going down to Florida, I probably have my family with me. Go to the Cafe Risque. It was funny, we stopped, my wife and son, one time at some convenience store, gas station, and there was the Cafe Risque, and I thought, well, for all the billboards, this place has got to be a palace. I was a fucking steel shed, about the size, it was like the size of a small garage, all metal, and a shitty looking door. I'm like, man, how many people got their damn faces busted up going in there? I need that shit. But it's just funny, for all that advertisement, it's such a tiny place, just weird. Oh, but speaking of the 2-lane road, so I went down to Florida another time, going to Tallahassee to see my brother, and I set my GPS to avoid expressways. Most of Tallahassee from Atlanta is non-expressway anyway. I think like half is expressway and the other half is these highways, but like the old school highways, like state route type roads. But I avoided it the whole way down. I went through downtown Atlanta, and then but the cool part was down in Florida. I got in this area, it was like nothing but cornfields, and so I'm on the bike, and the corn is, I don't know, 6.5 feet tall. The little 2-lane road just sliced right through the middle of it. You couldn't see anything but corn. It was pretty surreal. It was like almost like a horror movie or something, but really neat, good experience. And then went down to Miami another time, and by doing that same thing, I went through Alligator Alley, and they were all over the place. They're not big alligators, not man-eaters. They're like 2-3 feet long, but you'd see them all over the place. It's pretty cool. One was like just laying in the middle of the road getting sun. I'm driving through and just went around him. I think he was like a couple feet long. He didn't even pay attention to me. Their skin is so damn thick, you probably hit it, probably wouldn't do anything. It's like a turtle skin. If you've ever touched a what do they call them, loggerhead, or the snapping turtle, there's another one too. It's like it's armor. I mean, the leather is hard as hell. But we found one, and we're trying to get a leech off of it. Leech is pretty well armored too. You're not pulling that off. You have to put something on them. The leech. But yeah, that was a cool ride anyway. Yep, guys, I may be getting dumped on today. I did not do my diligence and check my weather report before I left. I just used the old gut feeling. The old gut feeling doesn't work like it used to. When I was in my teens and 20s, I could smell the rain like early in the day. I just know it was going to rain before it ever rained. Now I'm dulled. I don't pick up on it like I used to. I'm using a different GoPro mount today. It's one of the things I don't like about putting it on the handlebars. It's just so boring. Like, all you see is a headlight in a car. You don't really get the sense of being on the bike. But I just wanted to test it. I saw this old mount I had, and I was like, give it a try. But it seems like the videos are a lot better when I put them on the helmet. Then you can you get my head motions and looking around, and whatever catches my eye goes onto the video. But when you put them on these solid mounts, you're really just, it's like traffic. Might as well be a traffic camera. You see some guys, like, they have 2, 3, 4 videos all around them so they can splice it and make it just the way they want it. It's kind of funny. I had lunch with my other brother yesterday, and we were talking about things that people kind of started out talking about lies. Like, you know, you tell somebody a little lie, like, oh, I'm sorry I was late because I forgot my wallet or something. People are more apt to disbelieve those types of lies than they are huge lies. If you say a huge lie, like, you know, my mom won the lottery, people will tend to believe that because it's so extreme. It's like, nobody would lie about that. That's too extreme to tell such a thing. And that comes into play in politics. So when somebody says some big bold ass statement that's just like, oh God, that can't be true. Or, I mean, you know, who would lie about that? You instantly want to believe it. So just keep that in mind. I think Stalin is who said that you can tell a little lie is more apt to be questioned than a huge lie. So anyway, but it was just funny, and it's goes back to my point is people have these perceived things that oh, well, nobody would do that. Nobody would steal an ATM machine off a wall. I mean, you don't do that. That's just outside of what humans do. You wouldn't break through a wall to break into somebody's store or house. That's just not what you do. You're supposed to break through a window or a door. Let me tell you something. People that like want to do something, they do shit you will never expect to do it. Don't have preconceived lines of assuming somebody won't cross that line. Somebody will cross that line, and they'll think you just haven't figured it out yet. So I don't know. I can't think of an example to cite, but it's just funny. There was at the restaurant we ate at, there's a store that has these 4 big stone balls, and in front of the store is decoration. And I'm sure in their mind, it's just pretty decoration. And I told my brother, I said, you know, when we were teenagers, young teenagers, I guarantee you if there was 4 or 5 of us together, one of the group would have the idea of taking one of those balls and rolling it down the damn street. You just know they would. A normal person, that would never cross their mind. But our vandalous little asses, it's the first thing that crossed my mind to do something like that. So I'm behind them, what I call a mortality truck. I don't know if that's what this is, but in the chicken business, when the egg birds are all used up, they kill them all. After they kill them all, they used to throw them in these big trucks like this with the open tops. And the stink is so bad. We have work comp claims where people would climb up the side of the truck and the odor would hit them so hard that they pass out and then fall 10 feet down, seriously injured. So just nasty. This guy, I see him like once a week on this road. I hate when I get behind him. I don't want the shit blowing on me. I don't want to smell it. I don't smell it, thank God, but I don't want to take the chance of it, because I just imagine it's just a truck full of death, rot. Now that I've had birds for a while, you're like, this shit's evil, man. I don't think they do that anymore now. They use a gas to eliminate them. I think it's just carbon dioxide. They just remove the oxygen and they die very quickly at the end of their life cycle, really. And I don't know how long a chicken would live in the wild, assuming no predators, but as egg layers, they'll make about 2 years. You could probably get a little more out of them, but they put them down that way, and then they take them to these processing plants that basically literally liquidate the birds, turn them into this protein liquid, and then that gets squirted into dog foods, pet foods, protein additives for agricultural feeds. Now see, that's a big lie. If that was a big lie, you'd be like, oh man, what a big lie. You wouldn't make that up. It is true, but just that example. But It's a good way not to waste the animal, but it is pretty gross. So when you get your, 3 times the normal price bag of dog food, and you read the ingredients, and the first ingredient is chicken, and you think, oh yes, what a wonderful food for my animals, it's pure chicken. It ain't breast meat. It ain't even thighs or drums. It's just weird ass shit. Feathers, bones, the whole enchilada gets liquefied and put into these pellets. So if you really want to feed your dog well, I don't know, I'll probably get yelled at about this, but I say give them the same food you eat. Dogs have been living with us for 1,000,000 years or more, I don't know, but a long ass time. You can't tell me that their digestion has not evolved alongside ours. Now, the same things you shouldn't be eating, you shouldn't be giving to your dog. Don't be giving your dog a cheeseburger every damn day. Now, you shouldn't be eating a cheeseburger either every day. Once in a while, a little nibble of a cheeseburger, yeah, that's good for them. But you got to exercise them too, take them on a walk. You should really take your dog on a walk, at least once a week. They need to get out. They need to see what's going on in the neighborhood. They like to smell the little smells, figure out which dog is sick, which dog's odors they don't smell anymore. Maybe he's died or moved on. That's their little newspaper. But, eat healthy stuff. I wouldn't be giving them pizza, but, you have some steak, you have some ribs. Man, I love that stuff. You still have to have some kind of dry supplemental food, sure. It's funny growing up though, our dogs never had dog food. Like, they just ate from us. There were no leashes. We just walked around, dog walked right next to you. You didn't need them. They knew. We'd go into a store in this fairly industrial area, and our dog Sparky would just sit outside the front door. Everybody knew Sparky in that neighborhood. She would just sit there. She didn't bother anybody. And we'd come out after playing video games or whatever, and then she'd just start walking with us, and we'd walk on home. She never did any like crazy lunges or stuff. And then people started getting the big dogs that can really do damage, and then on top of it, not giving them any love, not treating them well, so they get angry. You're buying a dog to act like a badass. That dog's not going to be the best companion. You buy a dog because you want a companion. They pick up your personality over time. Just like you pick up other people's personalities too over time. And they're great companions. They're not going to go just randomly attack somebody when they're around people all the time. But I'm sure we gave them dog food at some point. I don't know, as a teenager, but there was not like a standard, here's your bowl of water and here's your food. Sparky just ate and drank what we had. And every dog before her. And, but anyway, you can't do that now. With all these leash laws in effect, because of the aggressive dogs issue. I guess back in the 90s and early 2000s just kind of ruined it for everybody. So, but just keep, going back to the food, just keep that in mind. Even beef's the same way. If it says beef's in the dog food, it's not steaks, guys. It's not prime ground chuck. It's all the shit that they couldn't put together and sell to humans out of that cow. Brain, tongue, eyes. They have these presses that freaking press them, and then whatever squeezes out the side, technically per the government, is considered meat. So that's where they put it. They put it in dog foods. So the whole beef and chicken is the first ingredient is total bullshit. Now I'm sure there's some companies that try to get more premier meats. It's not the dog food company's fault, really. But where are they going to get the dog food? Just think of it as a business. So where are they going to get an all real steak, meat and fat beef additive? Where are they going to buy that from? Do they have their own plant that processes the meat? Probably not. So they're buying it from a third party. Well, the third party has got, probably 4 or 5 levels of beef. with the bottom level being that stuff that squeezes out the bottom. That's what's processed and can be put into an animal food. If it's not, if I'm going to send you a steak, how are you going to get that into the dog food unless you've got the machinery to do the further processing, which most of these don't. But let's say that they did. I mean, the price is going to be astronomical. I mean, you think you're doing good when you go and buy a bag of dog food for, let's say, a small bag, or you know, the medium, not the super small, but the medium, and you pay 25 bucks. Well, that's, you know, 3 times what Alpo or some company like that would be. And you think, okay, I'm doing good. I feel good about what I'm feeding my dog. If they really just ground up steaks to fill that bag up, just enough binder to hold it together, corn or starch or whatever, that bag would be $100 goddamn dollars. Think about it. Think about how much of the bag weighs. Take out, say, 50% weight. So you're looking at, you know, 5 pounds. 5 pounds of steak, I mean, that's 70, 80 bucks. You're not paying 70, 80 bucks for a bag of dog food. So there you go. It's just squirt stuff. Now, that said, it's good that the cow and the chicken doesn't go to waste, you know. And the reason that's important, a lot of people don't understand that, not wasting the animal. It's like not like, oh, that makes the animal feel good after he's dead. No, it's so you don't have to eat as many. If you use up all the animal, you don't have to use as much. You're not going to consume as much. You know, think about it. If all we ate were the chuck steaks or the T-bone steak, that's all we ate of a cow. You know how many more cows would be killed? Yeah, you couldn't even calculate it. So that's why it's important to eat the whole thing, not to be wasteful. You know, you order food, you get it on your plate, you eat your damn plate, you clean your plate. When I was dating, my wife, she used to get mad at me about I'd be so full and I'm still trying to eat. Why are you still eating if you're so full? I gotta clean my plate. I gotta clean my plate. She's like, what are you, 12? And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I guess she's right. What the hell am I doing? So I just stopped doing it at the restaurant anyway. If I'm full, just stop eating. I know that is wasteful, but I'm not the one that makes the portions. Take it to go, I guess, if you can. But when I'm at home, I don't do big old, you know, heavy level foods. I you know, steak and maybe one side. I'll do some broccoli, maybe a potato, and I cook just enough for me to eat. And I clean my plate. So anyway, pretty boring ride. Not much going on, and I'm not really happy with that camera angle. It's just kind of blasé. But just happy to make a video, and I do enjoy riding. I just like it more than the car. I don't know why. I don't like being boxed in that car. It's like every time you give it gas, you feel like you're moving this big motorhome. All this extra metal, all this extra weight that you don't need. The bike's more pure. Really just you and the engine, and your body is part of the mechanics. You know, how you lean, how your posture is, how you react, how tight you hold your legs to the tank, how loose you hold your legs. All these things affect how the bike rides, the motion, the angles, how it turns, how it handles. All these things are impacted by your body posture. So it's the closest thing you can do to flying. I mean, even in my opinion, even in a plane, yes, you are flying, but you're all behind these controls and you're not really part of the flight procedure. Hang gliding, yeah, I'm sure, yeah, you are part of it at that point. That's probably as pure as you can get as far as flying. So I'm pulling in right as it's about to rain. Terrible timing. I'm gonna have to act like I didn't ride in today when people ask me, because I'm a fucking moron apparently that doesn't look at the weather report before he goes to take his bike out. There you go, lesson learned, ding dong. But at least it's Friday, so I will wait out the rain, probably just order food in, and then I'll be all right. One of the things I like about bikes is kind of the not just the danger of like, you know, a wreck, but also like the danger of the elements. Yeah, you know, I get some weird shit, and it's like, hey, I'm not going to enjoy it, but man, it makes you feel alive. You know, you don't enjoy hiking like the feeling you get when your legs hurt, but you do after. Once you're done, you're like, man, I feel so much better. Because our bodies are designed to take some stress. We're not designed to live in little plastic secure bubbles with no danger, no stress, no strain that kill you quicker than any damn thing else. So anyway, have a great day. Bye.